Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I'd do a bit of an unusual video for you today. So you might remember a little while ago I put a short video up showing all of the gifts that I got for Christmas, one of which was a really interesting little book called Carving the Little Guys. And it was basically how to carve small little figures from very small, almost like offcuts of wood. It was aimed at beginners, but I actually found it really interesting. I've been playing around with it for a little while, and it got me thinking, you know, I really want to put together just a little sort of small package for if I'm going out somewhere, if we're visiting family or friends or something like that, and we're going to be sitting around maybe out in the garden, and I can do a little bit of whittling, or if I'm going out for a walk in the woods, something like that. So what I've done, I've put together a little pack here behind me, and I'll bring you closer in a second to have a proper look at this. But really it was just to give you a bit of an idea. You know, if you want to be doing something like this, you certainly don't need all of this. It's just that I had this lying around and I figured that's what I'd do with it. You know, you could get away with a simple penknife and a little piece of wood in your pocket or in your bag, and away you go. But because I'm hoping to do this sort of fairly regularly, I thought I'd put together a little kit just so that I could just grab it whenever I'm on my way out somewhere, and I've always got it with me. So let me just bring the camera a bit closer in and I'll show you what it is I've put together. Right then guys, so here is my little pack, and to start with, this is what I've put it all in. This is just a fairly cheap and cheerful snug pack response pack. I really do like these because they pack down quite small, and you can fit quite a lot in them. Now in the main compartment I just keep little offcuts of wood, and that's just kind of where all of my little carvings and things sit, and then the side pouches and the front one is where I keep all of my kit. So to start with, this little front pouch normally contains these three items. So I've got a really fine grit sharpening stone here, and really this is just for touching up edges. You know, I'm never going to get to a point with any of these knives where I really need to reprofile the blade or anything. This is, I think, about 1000 grit, maybe it's slightly higher than that possibly, but it's really just to touch up those edges. And in conjunction with this, which is just a little wood back leather strop, and in fact inside here I also keep a little bit of Starkey blue or Smurf poo, depending on what you call it, just to put on that strop so I can touch up the blades. And I also keep this, which is just a little Ziploc bag, and especially if I'm indoors, I usually collect up all my shavings. Hopefully you can see them there a bit better, and all of these shavings are really good as fire lighting material. They're really good for tinder because I'm using very dry wood here. What else have I got? So I've just got a pencil and a really small steel rule because it's quite useful for this kind of carving, just to sort of mark things out. And really that's it, apart from knives, and you don't need a great deal more than that for this kind of carving. So really this is just whittling. It's just sort of a little bit of a hobby, a little bit of something to do if you've got 5 or 10 minutes spare. Now you've all seen this before. This is my Mora Eldris, really nice little carving knife, really useful for stuff like this. But again, you know, if you're out and about outdoors and you don't want to carry a fixed blade knife, you know, I've got a selection here which I'll show you in a second, but you know, if you are somewhere where you're allowed to have a fixed blade knife, this is really useful. And then the rest of these are all made by Rough Rider. It is a brand that I tend to favour for pocket knives. They come really sharp out the box, and they're really nice quality little knives. And all of these are UK legal. They've all got an under 3-inch blade, with the exception of this one. In fact, I haven't actually measured this, thinking about it. Let's have a look now. Right, so this is, in fact, yeah, this one's also, let's turn that round for you. This one is also UK legal because it's got under 3 inches on the blade. And this one here is probably my favourite little whittling knife. It's a little bit jazzy, it's a bit blinged up, you can see all the sort of gold flake in there, but you know, it was a sort of impulse purchase that I've never had cause to regret. It's got a nice sort of long thin blade on the front, which is really useful if you want to make sort of slightly longer cuts. And then it has 2 other blades on here which I find really useful. I just open those up. So you've got this one on this side, which is quite nice if you're cutting in sort of like curved cuts and things like that. and then you've got a flatter blade here with a nice point on the end, so you can do a bit more detailed work. And this is the one that I tend to favour above the rest, but we have another sort of you know, fancy blingy version here, and this has again 2 blades on it. Let me just open these up. So you've got a small sort of standard penknife blade at the top there, and then another slightly more pointed blade, which is good for sort of like digging things out and stuff like that, and again slightly longer so you can get some bigger cuts. I've got my very first Rough Rider penknife, which I bought years ago. I think it's called the Rifleman. I really liked the little decal of the Winchester rifle on there. And again, this is sort of a standard canoe shaped penknife that's got basically a regular penknife blade and then a smaller version of the same blade. And again, you know, you can carve with any of these. I like the versatility of the 3-bladed version, and I've got a really small, I think this is classed as a peanut knife off the top of my head, and again very, very small blades on there. If I just pull these open, so again you've got 2 very, very small blades, one slightly pointed than the other, and they're very thin blades as well, which is nice if you want to get a bit of detail going and that kind of thing. But really, I mean, this is my kit. You know, as I say, you could get away with maybe this knife and this little piece of wood in your pocket. You can't actually see that, can you? So these 2 just in your pocket, and you can crack on no problem. But if you do want to sort of, if you are doing a lot of whittling, and you know, you want to have a bit of a selection and a few extra bits and pieces, I mean, for me really the most important pieces here is having a knife, having whatever it is you're carving, and then maybe just a little strop so that you can, you know, touch up edges if you need to. Right then guys, so there you go, just a quick look at my little whittling kit. As I say, you don't need to carry this amount of stuff around with you, it's just personal preference for me. I like to have this sort of little grab bag almost, that I can stuff into my rucksack or stick into the car, and it's just always with me. If I find I'm in a location where I can do a bit of carving, and I've got some time to kill, I've got everything I need right here. I deliberately didn't show you this when we did the close-ups. This is kind of my first little attempt at whittling one of these little figures. In fact, I will give you a look now. As you can see, I'm not very good at this yet. This is my very first attempt, and you know, it needs a lot of work on it. There's a lot of really untidy cuts and things on here. I'm not sure if you can see that particularly well on the camera, but you know, it's about 2/3 finished, and definitely needs a lot more work, and I personally definitely need a lot more practice at this as well. But anyway, just to give you guys something to think about, I will be doing a little mini series at some point on trying to carve these little figures, and I think what I'll do is maybe like a step-by-step process. You know, I don't want to make a video that's particularly long, so what I'll probably do is several shorter videos and just go through like maybe the first couple of stages and then the next couple and the next couple, just so it's a nice, easy, simple to watch sort of almost carve along thing, if you like. So anyway guys, I hope it was useful. Comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. I hope you'll all join me next time. Thanks guys.